Hey folks, thanks for stopping by. This week I'm going to texture and paint the outside of this pecan bowl. Stick around, we'll get started. Okay, so you guys may remember this pecan bowl that I did a couple of months ago. I'll put a link to it in the description and maybe an info card over there. But it's just a plain pecan bowl. I went ahead and finished the inside with a abrasive paste and wax, so it's a nice finish on the inside. But for the outside, what I'm going to do is a texture. And I went down to Harbor Freight and picked up one of these descaling tools. They're used for after you weld, you know, it'll take off the top of the weld or just mill scale from metal. I took it apart, and you guys aren't going to be able to see this very well. If you take this front part off, you can take these little pins out, and I took them over to my grinder, and I made a dome shape on each of these tips. Not wanted to get rid of the flat, but I also didn't want to make a point. So each of these are kind of dome shaped. So depending on what PSI you set it at, it'll make some serious dents in wood, especially if it's a soft wood. So you have to kind of tailor the PSI that you point at it to the wood that you're using, as well as your compressor, frankly, because it does use a lot of air. So let me go ahead and get my air compressor dialed down. I think this wants like 90 psi, and I'll go ahead and start texturing the outside of the bowl. So start in a minute. Let me get some headphones as well, because it is a loud operation, and the compressor will kick on. Another reason that I'm going to paint is this has a tendency to spit out little bits of oil. So yeah, I'm going to put some paint on it after we're done, but yeah, I think this pecan is going to come out looking good. Okay, that pecan is hard. We don't call it pecan-crete for nothing. But hopefully, if I get this right in the camera, you guys can see that it's a really nice texture. It did kind of chew up the rim a little bit, so I may have to work on that some. But next step is, let me take this over to the lathe and set up my vacuum chuck, and I will hold it from the inside and sand this rim a bit, and just lightly run some sandpaper over this to kind of knock down any fuzzies that might have dug in. So let me get set up with the lathe and I'll be back. Okay, I've got my vacuum chuck set up and got it set with the one that should fit in the center. So let me get it close, and then I'll sand the outside and fix this rim. So probably going to just put you on mute and speed through this because the vacuum pump is pretty doggone loud. All right, that is pretty good. So I'm gonna take it back over to the table and we'll talk about the paint. So the paint I've chosen is Modern Masters Metal Effects. And I've got the, I think I'm doing the oxidizing bronze. Of course, the first thing you want to do is start with their primer. So let me go ahead and put a coat of that on. I'll put it on rather heavily and then let it dry.
One eternity later.
Okay, so that is the primer. Let me go ahead and let that dry, and then we'll come back and do the bronze and the patina solutions. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I put another coat on as well, and then gave it a few hours to dry. So now I need to put on one coat of the bronze, and then I will let that dry for a while, and then we'll come back and do the another coat and then do the patina. This one I'm going to do with a sponge just because it keep from having any brush marks.
3 days later.
So let that dry for about half an hour, and then I will come back and add a second coat and the patina solution. Okay, first coat is nice and dry. So let me go ahead and get a second coat going, and while it is wet, I will start applying the patination solutions. And then 5 minutes later, I will apply the patination solutions again. And again, I'm going to use a sponge to apply the paint because it seems to not have any lines. I'm going to go fairly quickly because you want the patination solution to be applied to wet paint. So if it starts to dry, go back over it and re-wet it. There we go. Let me get that sponge again and just kind of use it to smush it around and add a little bit of texture. You don't want it to be too uniform. All right, I think that's going to be good enough. So let me go ahead and let that dry overnight. And we'll see what it looks like in the morning. See you in a bit.
Tomorrow.
All right, so it's had a chance to dry, and I went ahead and took the tape off. So it, I think it came out nice. There's still a bit of the bronze kind of showing through in different places, and that's intentional. I don't see a lot of difference between the green and the blue. I know that the green seems to work better on the copper metallic, but I don't know. Generally, I like it. I think that it's kind of interesting the way the patina settled into the divots that the air air scaler created. And I'm sure if I took some steel wool and just kind of went over it to hit the high spots, that would actually highlight that even more. So, but a little bit of bleed around the edge in a few places, but nothing that would make me, want to have to chuck it back up in the vacuum chuck and redo the rim. Yeah, I think it came out pretty good. I've had mixed results trying to put a top coat on this stuff. A couple of times when I've tried to put a top coat on, basically the patina disappears into the background. So I think for this one, I'm just going to leave it just as it is. It doesn't come off, on your fingers. I've got a few pieces that I've done where when it gets handled, actually, it actually looks better. You get like different variations in the finish, and it looks like a natural piece. So like I said, I'm just going to leave this one. On the inside, I'll probably give it another coat of mineral oil, just to make it so that it's completely food safe. If the wife wants to use it as a salad bowl, we can. But thanks for sticking with me. Try to put out one of these about every week or so. So if you want to see the next one, go ahead and hit subscribe and ring the notification bell if you want to get an email. But let me know what you think. Have you? I haven't played very much with these. I've probably done a handful of pieces. I think I did a video a while back, kind of when I first got the paints, and since then I've done one or two more pieces and just kind of played with it, and I don't know. It's okay. It's not it's not super awesome. Although everyone that I've done, the wife really likes. So there is that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Drop me a comment or give me a thumbs up. But hopefully, I'll see you next week. Take care.